When you're a Milan fan and you watch Milan players, you're just not used to that if you're like 20 years old, because you haven't seen players like that at Milan, ever, right? You have to go back to the 2000s to remember a time that Milan used to have players that were of the quality of Luka Modrić.
Only 48 hours to go until the transfer window closes, but here's a look at some of the most notable ones that we've seen in Serie A this summer. Kevin De Bruyne, of course, joined Napoli, while Luka Modrić signed for Milan. Jonathan David now leads the attack for Juventus, as does Morata for Como. And Inter, on the other hand, well, they brought in Petar Sucic to bolster their midfield, and Nkunku was made official today for Milan. Obviously, the transfer window is still ongoing, but who do you believe, Marco, let's start with you, is going to be the most impactful signing this summer for their team?
So I went with Evan Ferguson, because I think that if you combined everything together, the coach that he has, who has done this time and time again, he knows how to get the most out of his strikers. And sort of the same argument that we're saying for Luka, even when he was not impactful in terms of scoring goals, he was running at opponents. He was holding the ball up. He was helping his team out. I saw more from him than I have from other strikers who have just come to the league. And I really like what Evan Ferguson, too. He also got the assist, his first assist today, laying it off to Sule. And he was smart. He said, I've watched so many players not have great careers, and then they go on to play with Gasperini, and they have the career of their life, strikers especially. That's why he made the move. Deserved to be said a few years ago that he's got potential to be one of the best strikers in the world. I go with Evan Ferguson.
Didn't you put him as a dark horse, by the way, for the Capocannonieri in one of your picks?
I convinced you about Evan Ferguson and Roma when you guys didn't even have him top four. Now they're already at the top of the table.
Evan Ferguson and Roma is two different things.
Okay.
Ferguson's looked good.
Matteo, what about you? Who have you gone for?
Well, I'm in a contract year. Big boss is Croatian. I got to go Luka Modrić, right? I got to go Luka Modrić. But look, this guy, for 2 consecutive matches, has been the MOTM, man of the match on the Gazzetta. He got a great score, a 7 out of 10, 6.5 last week. He was the only one last week that had a passing grade on the entire team. He's almost 40, just played 95 minutes, no problem. Great pace, running, defending, passing. 2 set pieces that led to goals. One was offside. You guys are laughing.
You think you're going to get a bonus for picking him?
Hi, Pete. How you doing? Where's my camera? There we go.
By the way, was he your first pick?
No, Evan Ferguson. They told me that Evan Ferguson was already picked by Napoli, so I went with the tactical pick.
It's just funny how you explain it, because Modrić was fantastic.
Luka Modrić is fantastic. Luka Modrić, we are lucky to have him in Serie A.
I agree.
Milan is lucky. There's players on that Milan team that don't deserve to be sniffing the same grass as Luka Modrić at San Siro. This guy is still the best footballer that Milan could dream of right now. He is a world-class player still now, about to turn 40, and the passes, you know how easy he makes everything look. When you're a Milan fan and you watch Milan players, you're just not used to that if you're like 20 years old, because you haven't seen players like that at Milan, ever, right? You have to go back to the 2000s to remember a time that Milan used to have players that were of the quality of Luka Modrić. So it feels like a nostalgic pick as well.
You know,
Matteo's got 2 daddies, Massimo Bonetti and Peter Radovic. He's got 2 dads.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Were you saving that one?
Well, you just made me think about it now.
It was, because you were smirking the whole time.
How do you say daddy in Croatian? You know?
Hi, Papa.
So I've got the player I picked was Bonny, not because he'll get ahead of Thuram and Lautaro Martinez, but I think that a big reason why they fell short of winning the treble or competing in all 3 competitions at the end was they brought in Correa and Arnautovic as their replacements, and they were not up for the task at all. So I think Bonny gives them a little bit of extra. Really good using his body, holding the ball. Just scores a goal against Torino in the first week. Looked good. So I think he's going to give them the biggest boost from the bench, and I think that's where they really needed it.
What about then from a team specifically to a player? Grella, you're going to go first. If you had to pitch a player to a team, who would you pitch to bring in? You're going to do Inter, right?
Yeah, we're going to stick with Inter, and I think the other, we talk about them adding Bonny, and they added, who else did they add up top? That was a huge piece for them. Esposito.
He came back from loan, yeah.
Yeah, so they add those 2 to this year's roster, right? I think that's really important. But then obviously at the back, they look good, but with the competitions they want to play in, there's a lot of age back there, right? Acerbi's back there. You have De Vrij when he's not available. So you just feel like they could use a center back. They could use someone else, barring that they're going to be in so many competitions, like and with the age and everything else.
Who's the name?
I don't have one off the top of my head.
Leone.
It's not off the top of your head. We prepared this.
Yeah, you prepared it, not me, obviously.
But also, Grella, the breaking news for Inter is they were the oldest team in Serie A last season.
They were the oldest team.
Now they're 1 year older than that. Is that
true.
right?
It's true, Papi. They're
And
1 year older.
They did get younger, though.
And
everyone they added was young.
Well, yeah, we'll see. But they were at the 30-year mark.
No, age is not an opinion.
Well,
No. To be fair, I use the age that shows it's weighted by minutes played.
Oh. Is
So-
this the stat they only have for you? I've
He
never
finds,
seen this.
he finds whatever fits his narrative.
Well, what
He'll change
they're
it.
using in the
Never
team.
seen-
Starting
What they're
11,
using in the team.
squad minutes.
Well, there's no point to have a guy's age that doesn't play in the team.
All right.
You know.
Grella, it's advanced analytics for Mike that we don't even.
You ask Grella how old
understand.
he is, and he'll give everybody a different answer depending on the day of what it is. Okay, so what about you, Matteo? Who have you gone for? Who are you pitching to a team?
So I picked last
Croatian
week.
player.
Oh, he's already there. He's already there.
Talk about Sucic.
Can I talk about Milan? Is Milan my team?
Well,
so
you picked
Milan,
it.
I picked originally Comuzzo, the center back, to go to Milan. Milan desperately need a center back. Right now, it doesn't look like it's Comuzzo. It looks like it's either Akanji, but he said no because of Champions League football. Foyth of Villarreal, and then Joe Gomez of Liverpool. So clearly they're desperate to get a center back. I don't know if a few of those guys are the answers. I think Akanji I would have felt the best with. They need so much more. They still need a striker. Santi Jimenez, their only striker on the actual team, is having a hard time trapping a simple ball, Poppy. So that's another big issue. Estupinian looks like Emerson Royal 2.0. So I still have a lot of questions.
It is a massive negative, isn't it, for players that they're trying to bring in, that now all of a sudden they have no European football, especially in a World Cup year. A lot of players are going to probably look at that and think, is this the best place for me to be in the build-up to 2026?
Also, you had to move early. The Mercato ends in 2 days. I mean, for me, Milan, the first thing on my list would have been circled, find a deal for a striker, find a deal for a center back. And they haven't, and now you have to find an opportunity of the market. I went, with the center back, but just because of this exact reason. I've said the stat a million times. I will harp on it forever. It's that Milan, when they finished second place, 10 teams had a better defensive record than them. And what did they do the next year? They went to Fonseca, they went to Conceição. They never got a top-class defender. And when I'm watching the game yesterday, Milan's game, and you can't even see, you see Gabbia and Tomori and Pavlovic all not comfortable with the ball, all not comfortable in their position. I think that they still do need something, and maybe you're going to have to overpay, but I'd rather use those funds in defense than in some of the places that they've used so far.
Would you agree with that, Matteo? Because obviously you picked the striker side of it, but do you think the defense...
This panel has said that they needed defenders from the beginning of last season. So you were talking about over a year ago,
Really?
even maybe before. Yeah.
Pavlovic is no good then.
Allegri uses 3 center backs because he doesn't trust any of them. So he's like, I might as well just throw them all on, and maybe they'll figure it out as a group. Because if he goes back 4, he has no idea which 2 are the best. And they just got rid of Malik Chow for $42 million, which is insanity. So they need a center back. They need a left back because Estupinian looks... I can't even believe that it's Emerson Royal 2.0. And then the striker situation, again, Santi Jimenez is not an Allegri profile striker.